I never thought that it would get to me. Never, in a million years. I just had like a fever and that sort of stuff. It was just a fever initially. Now there's a headache, and now there's body chills, and then you start to kind of put one and one together to say, "Ooh, there can be something wrong here." Early in the morning, 4 o'clock, we just decided, no, this is something is wrong here. We need to seek medical attention. I spent 7 weeks in hospital in total, of which 6 were in ICU, and then another 3 months of recovery at home. All in all, you're talking about 5 months of, and look, I mean, I'm still dealing with some of the effects as we sit today. The first week was fine. The second and third and the fourth week was probably the most difficult. Those are the weeks that you probably at your sickest physically, because the virus is still in your body. The medication is starting to work, but it's still working to try and suppress the viral load in your body. It was a long road to go from the level of positivity to a level of doubt to say, actually, where is this going? In my mind, I started to very quickly, psychologically, it started to impact me. Okay, if I'm that sick, what does it mean? That's when you start asking to say, what's the best way for me to get out of this? What can I do? How do I do this? And that's where the fear comes in, to say, will I be able to make it? And even if I make it, what will it mean? Is it going to impact me in a way that I cannot get my quality of life back as I know it? Or will my quality of life be different? What would it mean in terms of those that are supporting around me? When we talk about someone being COVID positive, we kind of talk about the individual. But the impact on the family is huge. It's significant. Because one, it's your loved one that's in hospital. What makes it even more difficult in my mind is, or what I've experienced, is the fact that you cannot visit the person, you cannot see the person, you cannot help take care of the person, not knowing what is going on. I remember speaking to, for example, my mother, and you can sense that she's trying to be strong. You can sense the worry in your wife's voice. Although she's trying to be positive, remain positive and encourage you to keep on fighting. The turning point for me was when I tested negative. So while I was still in the ICU, I tested negative. After I tested negative, they then moved me to a general ward from a recovery perspective. So to get you to move, be active, walk, even if it means that you walk, just from one length of your room to the other room, and see, not just lie in bed, which is obviously in ICU, that's what you do, 99% of the time, is then to move, you sit up in a chair, look out of the window, try and get into a better frame of mind, read a little bit, listen to whatever it is that inspires you. I kind of started to change my mindset to say, if I'm going to get out of this, I need to get out of this whole thing of I cannot go to the bathroom by myself. I cannot eat by myself. I cannot do it, because all of those things are taken care of in ICU. If you think about it, when you start doing those things little by little, that's when you start to change your mindset. You start to get hope to say, actually, if I can walk from my bed to the window, and I can sit at the window, there's hope. I feel much better. Mentally, you start to change your mind. One of the key things that I also did was, as soon as I was out of the COVID ward, COVID ICU, I started to plan my day. Very simple things. So rather than just lying there, I think it was also to say, you wake up at 6 o'clock, and I planned it meticulously. Brush my teeth, take a bath, get back into the chair, read for 30 minutes, speak to the family. It was very, very meticulous, do my breathing exercises. I knew when the physio was coming, so I would put that in to say, this is from this time to this time, I'm doing physio. And what that does is it brings a bit of structure to your time. Monday, by the end of this week, Friday, I'll be out of this hospital. But obviously, you don't know how sick you are. And I think to a certain extent, the doctors are also, they don't want to, outright tell you, you are very sick, you're going to be here for a long time. So they come to you every day, no, you're making progress, keep it up, well done, this is good. Just focus on your recovery. You tell yourself that Monday, by Thursday, you are stressing already because you are thinking, okay, I've set myself a target to get out on Friday, but Friday is not happening. I realized after the first 2 or 3 weeks that, no, look, it is what it is. If it takes me, as long as I can wake up every morning, if it takes me to 3 months to get out of this, it is what it is. This is what it's meant to be. And I think once you make those mental decisions, it puts you in a different position where you can say, okay, let's just take it one day at a time. So you wake up in that morning, you do what you need to do, you go to bed, you wake up the following morning, and you take it day by day. And I think that really also changed my mentality around the whole thing. And I think we had a number of coping mechanisms. So luckily, because I was conscious throughout the whole process, I mean, we the one way that we connected regularly was on the phone. So in addition to just phone calls, we would have video calls and that sort of stuff, particularly with my wife, and other close family members, obviously. We try to kind of shield the kids from it, because obviously you've got tubes and that sort of stuff coming out, and so you don't want to expose the kids to that sort of thing. I think it was particularly difficult for my wife because obviously we are together most of the time and we do things together and that sort of stuff. And the fact that she could not come and visit me and take care of me. So one of the things that we did is we said, okay, simple things like, she would prepare food every day and have it delivered. And I think that was her way of, contributing to me getting better. So even when I was speaking to the doctors, they were saying, look, it's the right thing to do. First and foremost, it's healthy, it's home cooked, it's food that you're used to. Secondly, your wife is part of that process. So she sacrificed a lot. We'd get up in the morning early, prepare breakfast, lunch, dinner. So 3 meals a day she would prepare and bring it to the house, to the hospital. Sorry. So I think that was really good from that perspective. And obviously being able to speak every day was really helpful. What was also great is, I didn't realize it when I was in hospital, but when I came back, she told me about all the people that called, gave their support, not just family members, but also colleagues from work, really just checking in and also just showing support, even if they didn't do anything, just saying, look, we are here if you need us. Just pick up the phone and call, and if you need us to run around or do something. And I think that really helped in terms of the support in that. And I think it's one can only be really thankful for that support. The office has been tremendous from that perspective. From my seniors to everybody in the office in terms of support, really just checking in, making sure. And I think in the spirit of show we care, I experienced that tremendously, and I can only be proud and privileged to be part of the NDTC family as I'm sitting here. Unfortunately, obviously, at that stage, we did not have the options of vaccines and that sort of thing. I don't want any person that I know, even my worst enemy, I don't want them to go through the experience that I went through. It impacts people differently. We don't fully embrace the benefits that vaccines mean for each and every one of us, individually as well as a collective. One of the key things that the vaccine does, or the key thing that the vaccine does, is it gives you a higher chance of not getting gravely ill like I did, or getting hospitalized as long as I did. I was lucky in the sense that I was able to recover with God's grace and all the prayers and thoughts that came into it, the great work that the professionals, the medical professionals, the doctors and nurses and the professionals that helped me get to where I am today. If you think about what's happening now, businesses are having to close down there, or if they don't close down, they're having to reduce capacity. And what does it do in terms of the economy of the country? What does it do in terms of the livelihoods of those people that were employed by those companies? So I think it's important that we understand it from that context. But we all know, as we sit here, we all know there is not a household in Namibia that has not been impacted by this, either through somebody who's seriously ill. And when we get seriously ill, as I said, it's not just the person. It has an impact on each and every loved one that is connected to that person. Or worst case, we've lost people. Our communities are losing the pillars of those communities. We are losing brilliant, bright people that are continuously making an impact in this country. And those are things that we might not see it now, but we're going to see it in the next months and years to come. One needs to unpack all the other things around it and understand what is the vaccine trying to achieve. It is really to protect yourself, protect those that are around you, and more importantly, also I think it's also very, very important, and I think we sometimes miss that, is to try and get to, as a collective, to a point where we can get our lives back. What we are doing now, whether it be the lockdown measures, whether it be the measures that we are putting in place at our homes or our offices, the interventions that we are doing as a country and as a business community to try and alleviate the situation. In my mind, we are just treating the symptoms. And if I think about the tremendous amount of work that has gone into supporting government from the private sector in terms of securing vaccines, PPE, oxygen, all of those things, it's all things that are commended. What we're going to be dealing with, unfortunately, is every 3 or 4 months another wave. Yeah. So we can talk about here, no, we've done a tremendous amount of work in terms of containing this wave, and we have to do what we need to do. I'm not saying we should step away from the measures that we put in place, but I think what we need to think about is how do we, even if there's a fourth wave that is already been talked about in October, November, how do we minimize the impact of that? And as much as I took the vaccine for myself, I also took it for everybody that's around me, and everybody that's trying to get to that point where we can say, okay, let's get back to some sort of normality. Let's alleviate that pressure on our systems. Let's make sure that we give an opportunity for the health professionals also to look after other people. Let's create an opportunity where our kids can go back to school in a safe manner, where our university students can go back to school in a safe manner, where businesses can get back to normal and contribute meaningfully to the economy of this country. If the vaccine gives you that chance to avoid getting sick gravely, ending up in hospital, or worst case dying, then I think it's something that one needs to consider very seriously. From an industry perspective and an NDTC standpoint, we do believe that vaccines are the only way for us to get out of this. I mean, I'm not saying we should stop doing all the other things that we are doing. I think we've put in significant measures to curb the spread of the virus. We've capacitated not just the business but also our employees to be able to deal with the case. We've got various protocols in place. We've got measures in place in the office. We'll make sure that we follow those measures and continuously encourage the colleagues to do that. In addition to everything else that we've done, NDTC as a business also understands that it's a personal choice. It is not something that we can obligate on the employees, because we care about the health and well-being of our employees and their families. And this is one way that we can empower them to actually ensure that they're able to further enhance their own health and the health of those that are around them. So it's something that we really believe in, and we'll continue to, despite all these challenges and noise and everything that's happening around us, continue to try and pursue. When you go through the experience like this, you have no choice but to question what is important for you in your life. Yeah. What COVID makes you realize is you only have one life, and sometimes we focus on one aspect of our life so much that you start neglecting the other part. So what is that? What does that balance look like? And it's different from one person to the next. But I think we need to reset our lives and say, okay, what is that's important? What are those aspects? And it might be 4 or 5 aspects, but how do you make sure that you balance all of those aspects in your life, and ensure that obviously you give them the attention that they require? I've got a young family. I want to be there and see my kids grow up and fulfill their full potential. Because what I'm saying is, if I've survived it and I can share my story and I can share my experience, maybe it will help somebody out there from that perspective. Even if it's somebody that's sitting with that same problem, whether at home surviving or struggling at home or in hospital, if they see this, just to say that there's hope out there. If you believe, if you have a positive state of mind, if you go through this with the view to say, I want to get to the other side, not just for myself but those that are around me, so that I can go and occupy my rightful place in my home, in my community, in my country, and contribute in terms of what my purpose is, then there's hope that I can keep on fighting. My name is Brent Eiseb. I'm a COVID-19 survivor. Let's protect ourselves and those around us by getting vaccinated.